This is an iHeart podcast.
There's nothing like sinking into luxury. Anabe sofas combine ultimate comfort and design at an affordable price. Anabe has designed the only fully machine washable sofa from top to bottom. The stain-resistant performance fabric slipcovers and cloud-like frame duvet can go straight into your wash. Perfect for anyone with kids, pets, or anyone who loves an easy-to-clean, spotless sofa. With a modular design and changeable slipcovers, you can customize your sofa to fit any space and style. Whether you need a single chair, love seat, or a luxuriously large sectional, Anabe has you covered. Visit washablesofas.com to upgrade your home. Sofas start at just $699. And right now, get early access to Black Friday savings, up to 60% off store-wide with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Add a little to your life. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Okay, real talk. How many pictures are on your camera roll right now? Enough to induce a little stress? Let's take a deep breath. Friend to friend, I want to tell you what finally worked for me. Chatbooks. They make it so easy to actually do something with all those photos. And right now, they're giving us a podcast-exclusive, mind-blowing offer. 12 monthly mini photo books for just $12, plus free shipping. That's a full year of printed memories for less than you'd pay for 1 month of streaming. Sleep better at night knowing your memories are safe. Just pick your photos, and the Chatbooks app does the rest. Go to chatbooks.com/get12. That's chatbooks.com/get12 and grab the steal before it's gone.
Wishing the holidays could come early? If you own or manage your business, they can. With help from iHeartRadio. People are already shopping for their loved ones and hunting for deals wherever they can find them, including right here. They're listening to the radio. They're listening to podcasts. They could be listening to you. Don't wait for everyone else to kick off the holidays. Get your best season of the year up and running today. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com.
And it's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Thursday morning. It's nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update, and we've got one major story for you. The longest shutdown in U.S. government history is finally over. President Donald Trump signing the bill into law. But there's a very good chance another shutdown could be coming very quickly. We've got all the details on that and what the president had to say from the Oval Office. But first, I want to tell you about an amazing opportunity right now that I'm involved in, and I cannot wait for you to take advantage of it. I want you to take some incredible courses at Hillsdale College for free. You may not know this, but Hillsdale College has been influencing conservatives like myself for decades. They had a huge impact on Charlie Kirk's life. And even as memorial service, they talked about how Charlie took class after class after class at Hillsdale College. Hillsdale College is now offering for you, the listeners of this show, more than 40 free, I want to say that again, free online courses. That's right, more than 40 free online courses. You can learn about the works of C.S. Lewis, the stories in the book of Genesis, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution, the rise and fall of the Roman Republic, or the history of the ancient Christian church, all with Hillsdale College's free online courses. Right now, I'm personally taking the Constitution 101. In this course, you're going to explore the design and the purpose of the Constitution, the challenges it faced during the Civil War, and how it has been undermined for more than a century by radical progressives and liberals. This 12-lecture course is self-paced. It's another reason why I love it. So start whenever and wherever. In our country, we need more Americans like you and I that understand the Constitution and can defend the freedom of the American people against the left and their increasing encroachments on our God-given rights. So start your classes today for free. Start your free Constitution 101 course right now How do you do it? Go to hillsdale.edu/morning update to enroll, and it's no cost. It's easy to get started. You got to use the special website, hillsdale.edu/morning update. Enroll for free. Hillsdale.edu/morning update. It's the 47 morning update, and it starts right now.
Story number 1.
The longest government shutdown in America's history finally over. The stopgap funding measure keeps the government operating through January the 30th while Congress works on a long-term deal. Now, let's be very clear. There's a very good chance come January 30th, the Democrats could shut the government down yet again. President Donald Trump signed the legislation to fund the government again, putting an end to the longest shutdown in history. And Democrats got nothing from doing this. The exact same deal that was made in Washington to reopen the government was on the table before the government even shut down. So why did they hold Americans hostage, hurt so many Americans, and make sure that Americans suffered, whether it was food stamps or missing a paycheck? Because they wanted to hurt Donald Trump, and they put politics ahead of the country. Now, Trump signaled Monday the government would reopen soon as consequence of a lapse in funding continued to snowball, including missed paychecks for federal workers and airline delays stemming from air traffic controller staffing shortages. Some Democrats wanted this to actually move past Thanksgiving to really hurt Americans because they believed you would blame Donald Trump for it. Now, the bill keeps the funding of the government at the same levels during the fiscal year of 2025 through January the 30th to provide additional time to hash out a longer appropriations measure for the fiscal year 2026. Now, the measure also funds a supplemental nutrition assistance program known as SNAP or food stamps that more than 42 million Americans rely on through September. Yes, that's far too many Americans that are on food stamps, and we can talk about that as well another day. But the main point was this: why hold families in need hostage? That's exactly what the Democrats wanted to do by design. There were multiple votes to just fund food stamps, and Democrats every time voted no, while at the same time claiming that Donald Trump is hurting poor people in America. Now, the reopening of the government comes after more than 40 days of a lapse in funding aimed at a stalemate between Senate Republicans and Democrats over the stopgap spending bill that would have funded the government through November the 21st. After a lapse in funding started on October 1, the Senate passed legislation Monday night that would reopen the government by a 60-40 vote, the exact bare minimum number needed to reopen the government. A total of 8 Democrats voted alongside their Republican colleagues for the measure. The House subsequently passed its version of the measure on Wednesday, and the deal came as fallout from the shutdown came to a head, including, as I mentioned, massive travel disruptions at U.S. airports, where the air traffic controllers and the TSA officers were required to work and were gearing up to miss a second paycheck. As a result, these staffers were calling in sick, taking on second jobs, creating staffing shortages, and massive flight delays. Now, the standoff between Republicans and Democrats all originated over a disagreement about Obamacare. And the fact is, Obamacare, known as the Affordable Care Act, is not affordable at all. But health care providers, health insurance, I should say, carriers, are making billions off of Obamacare. And that's one of the problems that conservatives wanted to talk about. Now, I also want you to hear what the president had to say from the Oval Office as he was signing this bill into law. Take a listen to the president's words carefully.
United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before, Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons. I want to thank Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, as well as House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Majority Whip Tom Emmer, and numerous other great Republican leaders and congressmen and senators who are here and who frankly spent a long time in Washington getting this thing to go away. I also want to thank the broad coalition of Americans that stood with us in this fight to reopen government, including the Teamsters, the American Federation of Government Employees, the Fraternal Order of Police, AMVETS, the National Small Business Association, the American Farm Bureau, the American Trucking Association. These are all incredible patriots. The Airlines for America, the Allied Pilots Association, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and many others, unions and non-unions. Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster so that this can never happen again. If we had the filibuster terminated, this would never happen again. And don't forget, we have another date coming up in the not too distant future. We can never let this happen again. And we should be able to pass great, really great legislation. So I say terminate the filibuster because, by the way, the Democrats will do it immediately if they ever assumed office, which hopefully they won't. Today we had the highest stock market price ever in all of the different markets. We set a record. It's the 48th time in the 9 months that I've been in office that we had this record set. So think of that, 48 times we had a record set. But today is the highest of them all. We're going to break new grounds. Nobody would have thought. I have with us not only the great political leaders, but the great business leaders of our country. They're standing right behind me and right really alongside of me. And if we would have told them a year ago that we'd be having stock prices this high, none of them, in fact, I just asked them that question, none of them would have believed it. And that inures to jobs and, very importantly, to 401ks, which have also set a record today. A record high for the people that have 401ks. And also I want to thank Walmart because they came up with a fantastic study. It was the cost of Thanksgiving coming up and the cost of Thanksgiving from a year ago under Sleepy Joe Biden. And we're 25% lower this year than we were a year ago. And it's a very inclusive report. So I want to thank Walmart. They've done it for many years, but we believe in that, and we believe in that company. I want to also thank the 8 Senate Democrats who finally did the right thing in voting to end this craziness, this madness. But unfortunately, the vast majority of congressional Democrats were happy for millions of Americans to suffer. They really did suffer, too. And the Democrats admitted, they said, well, no, we finally have a point. Even though people have to suffer, we finally have a point. And that didn't work out too well for them. But they really went out and they could appease the fringe benefits of their far left base. But that didn't work out because now their far left base is angrier than ever before. We actually elected a mayor of New York City who happens to be a communist. When was that going to happen? Remember, I said all the time during my campaign, we will never be a socialist country. And that's right. We turned out to have a communist in New York City. And if you look at his views, those are the views of a communist, not a socialist. So this is no way to run a country. I hope we can all agree that the government should never be shut down again, end the filibuster, terminate the filibuster. It'll never happen again. So with my signature, the federal government will now resume normal operations, and my administration and our partners in Congress will continue our work to lower the cost of living, restore public safety, grow our economy, and make America affordable again for all Americans. Again, costs are way down. Energy is way down. Gasoline is at $2.50 a gallon versus $4.70 for the Democrats. And we think we're going to hit pretty close to $2 a gallon. That's like a really massive tax cut. It's the equivalent of that. And speaking of tax cuts, our great, big, beautiful bill is giving everybody in our economy, middle income workers, low income, everybody, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And it's no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and very importantly, no tax on overtime. You work overtime, there's no tax. That's among the things that add up to the biggest tax cut in history. And one other thing, you hear about rich people with deductions. Well, when you buy your car and you borrow money, you're allowed to now deduct the interest on that loan. So you can take that interest deduction and what you can take is that interest payment and deduct it for income tax purposes. That's a tremendous tax cut right there. But it all includes fixing the healthcare system that Democrats broke with the disaster known as Obamacare. Obamacare was a disaster from day one. It's done nothing but go up. And if you remember President Barack Hussein Obama, when he came up with this crazy idea, he said everything's going to be great, rates are going to go down, payments are going to go down, everything's going to go down. It went the exact opposite with the biggest increase of healthcare in any country. It's a disaster. And I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own health care, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare. And I've had, I think, great support. I've even had Democrat support. So we want the money that would be going to the insurance company, which is hundreds of billions of dollars. Their stock prices have gone up by 1,000% in many cases, 1,000% over a short period of time, because our country stupidly pays them so much money with this Obamacare scandal. So I want the money to go directly to you, the people. And you go out and you'll buy your own health insurance and you'll negotiate different plans and you'll get much better insurance, and you will be an entrepreneur for yourself. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party. We'll work on something having to do with health care. We can do a lot better. We can do great. So much money is involved, and we're willing to pay so much money to the people. So we're going to pay a lot of money to the people. They're going to go out and buy their own health care, and we're going to forget this Obamacare madness. So with all of that, I just want to tell you the country has never been in better shape. We went through this short-term disaster with the Democrats because they thought it would be good politically. And it's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again.
There's a couple different takeaways from what the president had to say there in his remarks. Number one, when he said, quote, "Today we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion." Because that's what it is. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. Trump said the Democrats inflicted massive harm in keeping the government closed since October the 1st. There's data that clearly backs that up as well. And the president talking about what the Democrats actually did. They caused harm. And that harm included so many people that couldn't get around the country to see family members who were sick, those who were dying, those who had died. This was real and it was personal. And that's part of the reason why the president said it the way he did.
The Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid. And the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to...
Don't forget what they've done to this country. Now, this is the fight, and this is where it's going. I think there's a very good chance that the government is going to be shut down again. Democrats don't think that this is a bad thing to hurt the American people. But you also have to understand this is par for the course with Democrats. Now, when I say that, what do I mean? It's simply put this way. Whatever they have to do to weaponize, they will do it. There is nothing that the Democrats will not do to hurt Americans. Another example of that is what they did with allowing millions of illegal immigrants to come into this country. Another example of them putting illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens. So the government is reopened. And the big question now is, for how long? If the Democrats keep going the way they are, there's a very good chance at the end of January, the government will shut down yet again.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is Jim.
Hello.
Jim started advertising with iHeartRadio way back in April. And now...
I have customers out the door!
And this is Sarah.
Hi.
She started putting a portion of her marketing dollars in podcasting back in June.
Business is booming. That's why I'm working on a Saturday.
Want to be like Jim and Sarah? It's easy. All you have to do is own or manage a business and reach out to iHeart. Get started today at 844-844-iHeart or iHeartAdvertising.com.
This is an iHeart podcast.